Welcome to the All Rise podcast, Sunday Scaries. I'm your host, Christine, a civil litigator and personal mentor. Every Sunday, we'll tackle those dreaded Sunday Scaries together to demystify the practice of law and provide you with actionable tips and guidance to face your week ahead. So grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and join me while we turn those Sunday Scaries into stepping stones towards your success. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of All Rise Mentors Sunday Scaries, where we demystify the day-to-day practice of law and provide practical tips for tackling those dreaded Sunday Scaries. I'm Christine Barker, and today we are diving into a topic that I think is really important, not just for new attorneys, but for seasoned attorneys, and quite honestly, for anyone. I'm actually going through it right now, so I thought now would be a really good time, to tackle this topic. And it's about transitioning. And if you're transitioning from law student to lawyer, or for me right now, it's kind of transitioning into this trial practice that I'm getting ready for. It's a journey filled with excitement, and doubt, and a whole lot of growth. In tackling this topic, we're going to do it through the lens of Martha Beck's change cycle. If you're not familiar with Martha Beck's work, she is a renowned life coach and an author who developed this really powerful framework for understanding the psychological strategies of change. Whether you're starting out in law school or you're grinding through bar prep, stepping into your first legal job, or like me, getting ready for trial, the framework will help you navigate the ups and downs of the journey. So let's get started. So stage one, or square one, is called death and rebirth. And I know this sounds a little bit dramatic, the death and rebirth, but it really is a great description of what this stage kind of feels like. When you're in stage one, you are letting go of your old identity. And in this case, letting go of the identity of a law student. You have gone through school from elementary, junior high, high school, college, law school. You are good at being a professional student. But as you're making that transition into becoming a practicing attorney, it's time to kind of let the law student die and let the rebirth of the lawyer take place. Graduation date is often a huge milestone, but the reality is that it can be very disorienting. You're leaving behind the structures of classes, study groups, exams, all the things that you've really kind of known and are really comfortable with. I know for me, when I left law school, one of the reasons I went to law school was I knew I was a good student. I knew I could study, I knew I could learn, I knew how to take tests. Those things I had mastered. So it was just kind of natural that I was going to go on to some sort of grad school, and it happened to be law school. What I didn't know how to do, though, was to actually be a lawyer. For years, you've been working towards this single goal, becoming a lawyer. But now that the goal is right in front of you, it's natural now to feel a little sense of loss and confusion. Who are you now that you're not a law student anymore? Now that law school is over, who now do you have to become? During this phase, it's really important to acknowledge the feelings. Don't rush to getting over the discomfort. It's okay for you to feel that discomfort. It's natural, it's normal, you need to do it. Instead, allow yourself to kind of sit with it. Reflect on the journey that you've been on so far. Start with imagining what your new identity as a lawyer might look like. Be grateful for the years that you were able to go to school and for the accomplishments that you made. And then kind of think about, okay, what kind of lawyer do I want to be? And you may try on a lot of different types. What I really like to do is to kind of try on different hats or different versions of the lawyer I'm going to be, right? So you could do I want to be a transactional lawyer? And what would a day in the life of a transactional attorney look like? What would the day in the life of a district attorney or a public defender, or in my case, a civil litigator? And it gives you the opportunity to kind of redefine yourself. You really have a blank slate right now, and you get to decide whatever kind of lawyer you want to be. So be grateful for the years that you had being an excellent student and getting as far as you are, and now give yourself that opportunity to think about the type of lawyer you're going to be. So stage two, or square two, this is kind of the dreaming and scheming part. So we talked a little bit already about kind of thinking up the opportunities for your new identity, and you get to imagine what kind of lawyer you might be. Whether you've always dreamed of public interest law or maybe corporate world, whatever your aspirations, now is the time to kind of start setting up your big dreams. Thinking about the type of work that excites you, the values you want to uphold, the impact that you want to make in the legal field. It's also a time for practical planning. Start thinking about the steps that you need to make in order to make these dreams a reality. Things like networking groups. The field that you want to go into, do you need to go into those kind of networking groups? Is there any additional certifications that you might need? Do you need an LLM because you want to go into tax? Any experiences that you've already had that's going to help you stand out in the legal community and in getting that first job? This stage is full of energy. It's full of energy. It's optimistic. It's really important, though, to balance your dreams with action. You can get hung up in kind of imagining the kind of lawyer you want to be or exploring these different areas, but you need to take action. Start putting your plan into motion with just some small steps. The key here is to stay open-minded about the ideas and the possibilities. It's your time to explore. And when I say staying open-minded, we talked a little bit in a prior episode about when your role in a law firm. And as an associate, you may think, oh, I want to do this kind of work. Like I've always wanted to do employment law. But the first case that comes across your desk is construction. Don't shut the door to that opportunity because there are a lot of things that you can be learning just in the practice of law in and of itself. It may not be in the area that you thought you wanted to go into, but you're just learning. So be a sponge, take in all of that, all of the opportunities, all of the lessons, all of the chances to try something out. You might be surprised what it is that you learn and that you find out that you actually are really good at or something that you really enjoy. I will say for me, like I said right now, I am kind of in a little bit of a transition stage and I'm super excited. I've tried cases before. I've picked a jury. I've gotten to kind of the courthouse steps of a jury trial, and then they always settle. I guess I must be too good. But I'm really excited right now to really think about preparing for this trial. What kind of trial attorney do I want to be? How do I want to present to a jury? And I've watched other trial attorneys. You've got the folksy guys who are like, hey, I'm just like you. You've got like the hard-nosed ones who come in just like bull in a china shop. You've got the real approachable types, and you've got, the ones that are just really, really smart, like come to me with all of your questions, and the one that is most trusted to juries. And I'm just trying to figure out, who am I going to be? How do I want to present to this particular jury? And, we can talk days about this, but every case is different. Every jury is different. So how I present to one jury is going to be different than how I present to another, based upon the type of case, the facts, my client, opposing counsel, the jurisdiction. So many things go into play. But now I'm really kind of in this dreaming and scheming stage where I'm trying to figure out, how do I want to approach this particular trial? And you guys are in this stage right now. How do you want to approach your legal career? Step 3, or square 3, is the hero saga. So this is where kind of the rubber meets the road. And you've got your dreams, you've got your plan in place, but now it's time to take that action. Here's the thing. This stage is often where challenges really start showing up. You might be facing tough interviews, dealing with rejection, struggling to find your place in the legal world. This is the part where the journey, that's Schnipchen. This is the part of the journey where persistence is key. I will never forget one of my earlier mentors, Teddy. He used to tell me, I was kind of figuring out my way in the, kind of in my hero saga. And I remember I kept telling him, it's like I'm pushing a rock uphill. Like I don't know where the top of the hill is. I don't know how much longer I can hold on to this. I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember him just telling me, you're closer than you think. I know you can't see the end, but you're closer than you think. And that's where persistence is key, that you need to continue to persist on this journey and figuring out where you're going to fit in the legal field. And if one area doesn't fit, don't give up on the whole career. You can try other areas. There's going to be some trial and fail now here, and you're going to have to get okay with that. It's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen to you. Take a deep breath. Just know nothing's gone wrong. It's just the way that it works. This stage can also feel like a grind, where it's not super glamorous. It really isn't. It's going to feel like you don't know what you're doing because you don't, and that's okay. But this is really where the growth happens. Every challenge you face is a new opportunity to learn, to develop resistance and resilience, and to prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Because you're going to, and you can. You have the tools. You just need to learn how to use them. During this phase, it's crucial to stay connected to your support system. Whether that's a mentor, it's a peer, or a loved one, remember, you don't have to go through this alone. And while it may feel like you're constantly facing obstacles, know that each one is bringing you closer and closer to your goal. Every step up that hill, you're pushing that rock, you are getting closer and closer to the top. You may not know where the top is, but know that it's closer. You're closer to it now than you were 5 steps before. Stage 4. This is the final stage, and this is kind of known as the promised land. And finally, you're here. This is where all of your hard work starts to pay off. You've faced challenges, you've honed your skill, and now you're stepping into that new identity as a lawyer. And this stage is where you start feeling that sense of accomplishment and stability. You find like the light bulb finally goes on. You're like, oh, I get it. And I will tell you, it happened for me. I remember the day that it happened. I walked into Teddy's office and I said, I get it. I understand. He's like, I knew you would. And your mentors and your support system can see how close you are better than you can. So really do embrace that support system. Listen to them. They are not blowing smoke up your ass. They can see it. They can watch your growth. They see how far along you've come. So listen to them and embrace that encouragement. This is where you've kind of found your footing in the legal profession and you're starting to see the fruits of your labor. Maybe you've landed your first job. You've won your first motion. You've taken a successful deposition. You've received recognition for your work. That's really important. I try really hard with my team, but if you're not getting that feedback at work, seek it out. Ask for feedback. Can you let me know what I did right, what I did wrong, what I can improve upon? We talk a lot about constructive criticism. Take the constructive criticism. It's only there to help grow you. And even if it's not constructive, I know I talk a lot about this, but sometimes bosses don't know how to give you constructive criticism, and that's okay. You can take what they are giving you, take the stuff that can help you grow, and then leave the rest. Whatever it is, you are now beginning to thrive. But even in the promised land, there's always room for growth. Like I said, I'm in it right now where I'm learning what kind of trial attorney I'm going to be. And I'm still going through that. I will continue to go through that. What kind of, partner am I going to be? What kind of, what kind of book of business am I going to build? What kind of colleague am I going to be? And constantly up-leveling yourself. So even though you might have reached the promised land of, okay, I know what kind of field I want to go into, or what kind of field I want to go into for now. These things can constantly change, and that's okay because there's always room for growth. I've reinvented my career, I cannot tell you how many times. My husband, who's also an attorney, he's reinvented his career. I call him the Renaissance man because he has reinvented himself as a lawyer multiple times throughout his career. And I'm doing the same thing, coming out as a construction attorney. And, I've expanded my business into real estate. I've grown a book of business. I'm now a partner. I am now teaching these things to new associates. I'm managing a staff. I'm managing an office. All of these things at once were the death and rebirth, and at once we're the dreaming and scheming, and at once we're putting this plan into action, and now they've become my promised land, and it's an opportunity for me now to level up yet again. The key here is to remain adaptable and to continue to learn and evolve in your career. Remember, it's called a change cycle for a reason. It's just that. It's a cycle. Even when you settle into your role as a new associate, you might find yourself entering a new square one where you're taking on different challenges and pivoting in your career. That's okay. That's what it's there for. It's a cycle for a reason. Each time you moved through the cycle, you are growing and you're evolving. And that's the beauty of the practice. So, kind of to recap, the transition from law student to lawyer is a profound journey, full of ups, full of downs, but by understanding each stage of the change cycle, you can navigate that journey with more clarity and more confidence. So whether you're just starting out or you're in the thick of it, remember change is a process. Every stage has its own purpose. Embrace each stage, stay connected to your dreams, trust that you're exactly where you need to be. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this episode informative. If you have any questions or other topics you would like us to tackle, please do let us know. Please like, follow, and subscribe. All of those things really help me out. And until next time, keep rising. We'll see you soon.